Hey everyone, this is Ray, and I'm back again with a video update about my dad. A lot of people don't seem to understand why I'm doing this, and part of the reason I'm doing it is because, again, I'm protecting my interests, which I believe are shared with other people, which include the fact that we have an individual who I have the opportunity to, for whatever reason, be involved with. And it's not necessarily by choice. A lot of people think that I'm going out of my way to put myself in this continued cycle of being a victim. I don't see myself as a victim. I'm just participating as necessary in the alignment of this person who I've been exposed to. And that's happened throughout time, some of it because of poor choices on my own part, and some of it because of, like I said, generational debt. I was born into this. And I'm an only child, and the family who is well more experienced in terms of years and knowledge when it comes to political rhetoric and all that, have an opportunity to help me with certain circumstances that I've been encountering. In today's particular case, the original thought, based on what my dad left me in terms of messages, was that my dad was going to check himself out of the place he's at, the care facility, yesterday. And then that changed to today, and currently I was able to somehow, with some miracle or another, have a conversation that included a person who is a caregiver for my dad. So we had a conversation with a third person in the room, which was a blessing, because right off the bat, a question was asked to my dad, and he had to present an answer, which the caseworker said, "That's different from what you told me." Since I was on the phone, he couldn't say anything. He couldn't refute what he had said, the variance. And that's the thing that we try to achieve when we are successfully able to orchestrate a group conversation. That's why the practice of intervention or group therapy is so much more powerful, especially when this person is in the room with someone that they respect. Now, I'm telling you for a fact that my father doesn't yet respect me, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. Just like the terms that I've used in the past where I say, well, by society standard, this guy would be called one name or another. But it's not uncommon, it's just a truth. And sometimes the truth as an observation can seem like a judgment. I don't judge how my dad is. I wish him the best. And I particularly have a vested interest in this because if he doesn't treat people badly, then he might not treat me badly. And at the same time, I also don't like other people being treated badly. I don't want anyone to be mistreated or to struggle or to suffer. I like all of God's animals and children, and I say that quite often, and there's some things that I struggle with, of course, if I get attacked by a swarm of mosquitoes, well, what is this plague for? Why are they feasting on me? It's just the way it is, a lot of times, though, more and more often, the less that I fear certain things, the less I'm plagued with certain things. I don't fear my dad. I don't fear any of the outcome that will come from this. I hope for the well-being of my father, and that's just something that I believe anyone who had any kind of compassion would also hope for, whether it's their father or not that we're talking about. A lot of people have struggled with circumstances like this where there are chemical dependencies or alcohol-based dependencies, and they're all quite similar, whether it's food addiction or whatever kind of addiction it is. There is a level of self-control that's required in order to participate in this system that we are blessed to participate in, whether we're on one side of the border or another. So, with all that being said, I've had people ask me to talk a lot less and say less words about what it is that I need. I personally don't need anything except for some kind of a hopeful contribution to what can help my dad overcome the struggles that he's faced with. Currently, he's faced with homelessness, and I personally don't have the income necessary to fund anything that would safeguard him in a place that would also keep other people safe from his destructive tendencies at this time. As the situation evolves, I can do a lot more to help this person, but without someone helping this situation to be exposed properly, we have essentially a snake in the grass. You know, it's not. There's no other way to put it in terms of how people fear venomous situations. So I'll say that. But at the same time, the "don't tread on me" theory still applies. If no one treads on that venomous snake, you're not going to be envenomated theoretically. But what about the unwary? What if we were to release a venomous serpent into a population that has kids or adults who don't necessarily know they're about to get lashed out at? I know what I'm encountering when I deal with this person that I've been encountering for 44 years so far. And so I'm telling you in this story right now how this call just went. It was a group call where my dad had to present a truth, and then from there we basically escalated the conversation to further outline the irrational anger that he has at certain topics. It's like once you get locked into a certain set of anger, you suddenly can't even see the mission anymore. Once you're angry at something and you are so angry that you're not noticing that you're throwing something or that you're yelling at somebody or belittling a situation, once you get to that point, you're already expressing destructive tendencies and you're not open to communicating. And I'm open to all of the communication, which includes both people being angry towards me and also thankful, you know. I'm way more at ease when someone's not angry at me, and for that reason I try not to make people angry. At the same time, I don't have time to continue to have these conversations with every individual who's curious about these things, curious enough to continue to tell me all their stories about power outages and whether or not the word, one word or another is offensive in the eyes of whatever peace practicing version of faith that we might follow. For me, I follow the path of joy and happiness, and I also am entrusted to the conversations and well-being of the people who are continued to be put into my path. And in this particular case, again, generationally, I was born into a situation where I'm an only child to someone who's struggling greatly with an addiction. And this particular addiction is such that the prioritization of what this person would seek out seems to be path of destruction first and anything else later, you know, especially if it's like something that will result in getting that person some kind of the next meal when they're hungry or the next room to stay in when they want to stay in a room. There's not been much responsibility that this person's faced, and I say that with a sense of dignity and shame, because that is like telling a bit of insight about someone that really wasn't seemingly mine to tell. But I'll tell you, if my dad was entrusted to a house that was falling apart around him, that he had supposed resources to keep in check, but he's not keeping those things in check, he didn't value that house. Is it that he didn't value the house, or is it that he didn't value himself? Whatever the case is, this house that was falling apart around him, he set fire to right before he almost set fire to himself. And that event happened just a couple of weeks after one of the messages that I already had recorded saying this person has resumed their destructive behaviors and is for sure engaging in activity that has resulted in these actions. And so there were several in my group who talked with my father before and after the fact, and they said, "Oh, we didn't see any of this coming. We didn't know this was going to happen." The truth is that anyone can see what's happening if only they take a little bit of time to look. And so I'm going to keep this video under 10 minutes so that you can enjoy the rest of your day. But this is today's update. I hope you have a great day. Peace, love, and all that old school stuff. And thanks for subscribing and sharing and understanding why I'm doing this.